And now, on to the next case.
In the matter of Trent versus Coons, case number 202.
The plaintiff is Alice Trent, a 77-year-old retired receptionist. She is suing Reinhard Coons, a 44-year-old construction supervisor, for a $5,000 unpaid loan.
Ms. Trent, let's see, you're suing Mr. Kunze, is that how you pronounce it, sir?
Coons.
Coons? All right, for a loan?
Yes.
All right.
Well, I loaned him money for a down payment on a house.
All right. So you want to tell me about it?
Sure. When he was married to my daughter, they were living in Palmdale, and they wanted to buy a house so they wouldn't have to pay rent. They didn't have the down payment. So I lent them $12,000 that they were supposed to pay me so much a month on the interest I was losing. And then he told me that if I ever needed my $12,000, that he would take out a loan and give me my money if that time ever came. But in the meantime, they were supposed to pay me $100 a month interest that I was losing on the money that I lent him for the house.
It's $12,000.
Yes.
All right. Now, you have submitted to the court an agreement that the defendant and your daughter agreed to pay you the sum of $110 a month as interest against the loan of $12,000, etc. That's 110 rather than 100, right?
Well, since the interest rates have come down, I told them that I would knock off the $10, so I agreed to $100 instead.
All right. Did they pay it?
Well, since then, they've gotten a divorce. In the divorce agreement, they decided, it was agreed that she would pay me half and he would pay me half. So she has been sending me $50 every month. But Mr. Coons has not sent me any money since a year ago, this last March.
Judge Joe Brown continues in a moment.
There was a time when I would have kept this woman in my life and not done anything I would have.
Well, she's not in your life, and we're not talking about her.
Now I can't get rid of her.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff says she took money out of her retirement account and helped her son-in-law buy a home with a $12,000 loan. Now, her daughter is divorced, and the plaintiff claims her former son-in-law is not making his share of the payments. Let's listen in.
Sir, why haven't you paid her?
Because I really don't owe the money.
What do you mean you don't owe the money?
I personally never asked her for the money. Her daughter did. Although I did sign an agreement that with my ex-wife and I that we would pay that amount. I did not ask her for that.
You signed both of these agreements, one for the amount and the other.
That's right. And I was kind of coerced into signing the second one. The first one I was in love. The second one was
How did you get coerced into that?
Well, Hornswoggle, let's put it that way.
How did you get coerced? What's she done to coerce you?
Well, I'll tell you, she's had every one of her other husbands in court, and I thought, well, this is kind of, I'm thinking two sides of the same fence here, I guess, is that if I don't sign this one, there'll be a worse one that comes along.
All right, so you signed it.
Right.
Okay, well, anybody put a gun to your head?
Not a physical one, no.
Well, how do you claim that you got coerced? I still don't understand that.
Well, it's exactly like that. Had I not signed that one, I would be in court looking at a lot more damages and emptying of my wallet than I was in this
you just
case.
took the lesser of two evils. It's nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
Now, what are you talking about here in terms of your wife has done something that gets you out from under this? I mean, why is this that you say that you don't owe this lady anything?
Well, it's kind of sad because actually my ex-mother-in-law is a sweet lady.
Well, why don't you pay her what you owe her?
I think her daughter should pay that.
Why do you feel you don't owe this money? Tell me.
Her daughter asked her for the money. Her daughter got rid of the house. It was her decision to get rid of the house. And yes, although I did sign some papers on it while I was in love with her, and I would have done anything at the time, her daughter owes it.
Why should her daughter pay her that?
You know, there was a time when I would have kept this woman in my life and not done anything I would have.
Well, she's not in your life, and we're not talking about her.
Now I can't get rid of her.
But we're not talking about her. We're talking about your ex-mother-in-law. You got rid of her over here, but you can't get rid of the obligations. You owe this woman some money. How much do you say he owes you?
Well, he really owes me altogether $6,850.
That's by your calculation?
Yes, that's half, and she owes me the other half, which she is paying me, and he isn't.
And he isn't. All right, what you have to say about that?
I don't think that amount even comes
It's
close.
your last chance. Tell me something.
Well, I don't know where $6,000 comes. The agreement that I signed, and I don't have a copy of it because her daughter has it, is that I would give her $50 a month, that we jointly would give her $100 a month and for as long as she lived. There was no other provisions made in that agreement that I recall. Uh-oh.
Judge Joe Brown continues after this.
Do you need justice? Call 1-877-JOE's Law.
That's your signature to the bottom, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right. You haven't paid it all off, have you?
No.
All right. What was it, 6,000 what?
$6,850 up to date.
Anything you want to add?
I would like to show him the paper if he'd like to look at
you-
it.
I don't,
Okay.
well, you know, it is kind of funny, eh? You, you fall in love with somebody and all they ever do is, she was emptying my wallet while I was married to her, and now she found a way to empty my wallet. while I'm not
Life's
married to
like that.
her. One must be careful who one marries.
That's right. Anything else to say? All right, $5,000 for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Court is in recess. Folks, I need you to,
Plaintiff gets $5,000 in this case. She was trying to get back the money that she loaned the defendant, her ex-son-in-law, for a house that he bought with her daughter when they were married. That was her retirement money, and she said she wanted it back. We'll find out what the litigants have to say after this. Judgment for the plaintiff for $5,000 in this case. We're going to talk to them right now. You're getting the money you wanted. How do you feel about the verdict?
Well, I feel that the verdict was the correct verdict because that's exactly how the case went.
How do you feel about your ex-son-in-law?
I loved him and I still do, and I'm sorry we had to have this disagreement because he should realize he was wrong.
What do you think of what she has to say?
She's owed the money. I don't really owe it. Her daughter owes it to her. I mean, we're talking about agreements that her own daughter doesn't even live up to and yet tries to stick me with the bill. I just don't think it's fair whatsoever. But the judgment is the judgment, and I'll live with it.
Thanks, guys, okay? Good luck in the future.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for today's Judge Joe Brown.